Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, here at Ivy Talks Podcast Network, we're doing a subscriber giveaway. We'll be doing a giveaway on the 1st and the 15th of every month for $50 for a random subscriber. All you have to do to enter is subscribe, comment on any video, and you'll be entered for a chance to win. And once you do it once, you're entered for life. And it's going to be on the 1st, 15th of every month. A random subscriber will be chosen to win $50. As you grow, that money will go up. So go ahead, subscribe, comment to enter. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Multiverse Matchup. I've been contemplating on starting this show for the pod, kind of something I'm going to do fun on the side. Maybe not probably dropping them weekly, but as all those of y'all that know, I am a nerd. I love Marvel, DC, anime, and I get asked a lot about who would win in a fight between this character across the universes. And it's a very big topic of discussion for me and my casual conversations with my friends. You know, the Superman versus Goku, etc., etc. So I decided to start the show kind of going over different matchups. And so I have a huge list of them already. And so hopefully this is a good first episode for you guys. And I think it's a pretty big talked about matchup between The Flash. We're doing the Barry Allen Flash, not Wally West, and Quicksilver. So we're going to get straight into it, talking about these two different characters. I do have a caveat when talking about the characters and their feats and attributes and their grading scale. It's all based on the comics. So some people really only know like Captain America or the Hulk from the movies. I'm dealing with their comic book feats, comic book things. I might reference movie stuff here and there, but most characters are nerfed, which means that they are presented as weaker than they really are. So a lot of characters are nerfed in movies, aka the Hulk, which Marvel kind of fumbled that character after Endgame or Infinity War. But those characters are severely nerfed. Even Captain Marvel is nerfed significantly in the Marvel movies. So this is obviously dealing with the comic book realm because I am very heavily involved or entrenched in the comics. So first, we're going to go over Quicksilver. Petro Django Maximoff, height 6 feet, 175 pounds, power type speedster. So now I have a grading scale. We're going to go over different attributes, and it's grading out of 100 with an overall score. Strength, 30 out of 100. Speed, obviously 100 out of 100. There are some things, because I wanted to give him a 95, but I went ahead, since he's a speedster, I'm going to make all speedsters 100 and maybe have bonus points for speedsters that are kind of at that next level within speedsters, but we'll talk about that later. Agility / flexibility, 95. Durability, 40. Stamina, 85. Healing factor, 35. Increased metabolism, so he heals faster than the average human, but he doesn't have a Wolverine Deadpool healing factor or like Hulk or anything like that. Nothing crazy. Longevity, 50. Again, fast metabolism. He ages at a slower rate. Combat, 65. Intelligence, 70. Overall grade of a 68. Powers and abilities, obviously super speed, accelerated perception. So what that means is that he can basically from his perspective, he slows down time within milliseconds to where he can make a decision. So for example, there's been times where he's being shot at by bullets, really close proximity to him, and the bullets to him are basically frozen as he's reacting to them because he's kind of slowed time down to almost still, virtually still, so he can react. That's accelerated perception. Small healing factor, phasing. Phasing is when he vibrates his molecules at a fast enough rate to where he can actually move his molecules through solid objects. So he can walk through walls when he phases. He's kind of shifting his molecules through the gaps in between solid objects. Cyclone creation, running in a circle, wall / water running. And here's going to be the biggest key of topic of discussion is the speed. Obviously, who's faster? This is talking about who's stronger, who would win in a fight, but this really comes down to who is faster. So I want to be nuanced, but I don't want to get too into the nitty gritty because I don't want these videos to be too long. But actually, before I get to that, let's go over some feats. So I'm gonna have a list of like 5 to 6 his strongest feats, or some of his strongest. Some characters have just a long laundry list of feats, so I'm not gonna go over. But Quicksilver, he's shattered space and time with infinite speed. So that's obviously crazy fast. He's outrun a collapsing black hole. He's entered the 4th dimension. He's moving. This is a feat that he used, the accelerated perception, where he basically freezes time. And he's time traveled to an extent of a couple hours. And so with most of these feats, they are one-off feats, which means they aren't something he's consistently doing, or his power level's not at that level consistently. A lot of times they're just writers that's writing a series that kind of boost him a little bit because it's his story, and they kind of give him this crazy feat. That is not his standard level of speed. So for this one, I have their standard speed and I have their high-end speed, or like at these maximum feats, what their speed is at. But their standard level speed is what they are day-to-day and everyday writing, or an everyday, more realistic. And these, obviously, some of these feats are so one-off or so rare. And actually doing research, a lot of them are due to being boosted by another character, or being boosted by a machine, being boosted by some magical presence. It's not him using his raw power to achieve these feats. That is a caveat for Quicksilver. Standard speed, about 8,000 miles per hour. It's still pretty fast. It's about Mach 10-ish if we round up. On his high-end speed, it's near light speed. But again, this is very, very rare for his character. He's not doing this all the time. And that is Quicksilver. Flash. Before we get into Flash, ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is brought to you by Final Form Supplements. We have supplements at Final Form Supplements. First of all, is a supplement brand that is true and honest. It's the best way I could describe it. If you want, supplements are the Wild West. Sometimes there's things in there that shouldn't be, or that's not labeled. If you want honesty labeling, whatever that is on that label is in it, go to Final Form Supplements. We got everything. Protein powder. We got creatine. I actually just took my creatine right before I did this video. Creatine, monohydrate, 100% pure creatine. Nothing else in it. No stimulants. No nothing. We got stuff for your liver. If you need liver, keep your liver healthy. We have super greens. We got fruits and vegetable capsules. Whatever you need, go to finalformsubs.com. Use promo code COACHTRIB, all caps, no space. Get 10% off your order. Now, the Flash. Bartholomew Henry Allen. I chose the Barry Allen Flash because he's the most iconic Flash. He's not technically the fastest Flash. The fastest Flash technically is Wally West, but Barry Allen is such a fan favorite, especially to me. I'm taking Barry Allen over Wally West. I don't care what nobody says. You can actually argue either or, but on paper, statistically, Wally West is faster. But Barry Allen is like the iconic classic Flash, so that's the one I decided to go with. 6 feet, 195 pounds, power type speedster, strength 40, speed 100. I'm actually going to give his speed 110. And actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it at 100. We'll just keep it at 100. And I'll kind of explain why I didn't want to put the Quicksilver and Flash's speed at the same level. We'll talk about that later. Agility, flexibility, 95. Durability, 50. Stamina, 90. Healing factor, 70. So the healing factor for Flash is significantly faster than a Quicksilver. And it's actually fast to where if Flash breaks a bone, it'll heal in minutes. So it's not quite Wolverine, Deadpool that could heal in like seconds. But definitely snap his arm, he can splint it, and then it will heal within minutes, maybe hours, depending on how severe it is. But it's a significant healing factor with cellular regeneration and the Speed Force. The Speed Force is going to be the key factor to Flash's argument for who would win. Speed Force. Keep that in your back pocket. Longevity, 70. Again, we have to talk about a faster metabolism, and he has the Speed Force. Combat, 75. Intelligence, 85. He's a forensic scientist. He's very intelligent. Detective as well. So his intelligence is high. Overall grade, 75. Real quick, that reminds me. I want to go back to Quicksilver. So Quicksilver, we have different tiers and labeling our different heroes. So let me grab my notes. So we have 9 tiers, okay? Street level, city level, country slash continent, planetary, stellar slash solar system, galactic, universal, multiversal, omniversal, or conceptual. These are the different tiers that heroes are placed in. Obviously, street level is somebody that could wreak havoc on a street or take out small gangs, maybe even take out a single building kind of thing. City level is somebody that can destroy, like lower city level, somebody that could destroy a block or two. And upper city level, somebody that could wipe out a whole city. So you see what I'm saying? So you go from city, country slash continent. So obviously lower tier 3 is be able to take out a country. Upper tier 3, be able to take out a continent. Things like that, planetary. And then universal, someone that can destroy or reshape the entire universe. Multiverse can affect multiple universes and or timelines at once. So Quicksilver is a tier 2 upper city level hero. So that means at his how do I put this? I don't want, not at his average, but not at his outlier feats. So his feats are kind of hard to elaborate on because they are such one-offs and such outliers that he's not doing that stuff consistently, to where he's probably he's at a tier 2, but because of his speed, he can punch up his weight class. So he doesn't have the durability to be in these upper tiers, but because of his speed is so fast and he's able to do some of these feats, he can kind of punch up for his weight class, if that makes sense. So he might be a continent slash country tier 3 character offensively, but as in totality, as a full character, he's really only upper city level, if that makes sense. So the Flash, where was I? Overall grade 75. Powers and abilities. So everything that we listed for Quicksilver, the super speed, the accelerated perception, phasing, cyclone, water running, this, that, and the third. Flash can do that as well. Here are some other attributes that kind of separates the Flash from Quicksilver. Speed, Force, Aura. The Speed Force is the embodiment of the speedster's powers. Speedster's powers come from the Speed Force. The Speed Force is what allows the Flash to run at these fast speeds and not combust. Run at these fast speeds and his feet not catch on fire, or he's able to run on water, or to run up walls, or to run on all these different surfaces. He's able to change surfaces without having to worry about it, because the Speed Force is what's protecting him when he's doing that. It's the reason why his suit doesn't just burn off, or his clothes he's wearing doesn't just burn off, because the Speed Force envelops him and it protects him from kind of these outside forces that would normally destroy a human's body moving at these fast speeds. Speed, Force, Aura. Time travel. So Quicksilver was able to time travel. Flash, Barry Allen, Flash is able to time travel at free will off of pure raw power. And we're talking decades forward, hundreds of years forwards, thousands of years forwards, thousands of million years backwards. We've seen it where he's gone back in time where the dinosaurs existed, and he's gone all the way to the future where nothing existed anymore. He's able to, at free will, raw power, travel in time, where Quicksilver had only done it a few times with a power boost from an external force, and it was only able to go up, I believe, like 2 hours into the future type of thing. So that's time travel. Dimensional travel, which is time travel on steroids. Not only is he able to go forward and backward in time, he's able to, at will, cross different dimensions, again, using the Speed Force. Another big one, I'm actually gonna save this one for last. Speed constructs. He's able to create clones of himself using speed constructs made from the Speed Force. Again, the Speed Force is a huge deal for the Flash. He's able to steal speed or to temporarily give people speedster powers. So if he's going against another speedster, since he has total control and domain over the Speed Force, and other speedsters' powers are derived or pulled from the Speed Force, he's able to tap into the Speed Force to take that speedster's speed, or take Speed Force aura and give it to a regular person, and they can become a speedster. So the Flash can literally take and give speedster powers to people. And the infinite mass punch. We got to talk about the infinite mass punch. The infinite mass punch is probably It's the Flash's strongest move power-wise, and it's actually considered one of the strongest moves in all of DC. What it is the Flash is approaching light speed. He's basically at light speed. And when he's at light speed, his mass, because of momentum, is reaching infinity, right? And once his mass reaches infinity, the force at which he is able to punch is the force of a white dwarf star. For those of y'all that don't know what white dwarf stars are, basically he is able to punch with the amount of force that is greater than our entire solar system in terms of weight. So imagine you take the sun and all the planets and put it together, and you were to squish it down into the size of his fist, and he is running at 300,000 meters per second, speed of light, and he were to hit you with it. That's the infinite mass punch. The craziest part's not even that, the amount of force you're being hit with. The crazy part is he can fire off 1,000 of those punches in 1 second. So you're talking about being hit with over 1,000 times the weight of our solar system and a fist 1,000 times in 1 second. That's even his mad punch. It has taken out Superman. It has taken out the Anti-Monitor. It has taken out a plethora of these super like Omega, Universal, Multiverse characters with one punch. It is obscenely powerful, and I wish they would have I haven't seen any yet, but I wish they would show, I wish they would take that power and create a storyline where he uses it as its absolute max power to show how devastating this punch is. They could have it to where it ends up destroying an entire galaxy or destroying or ripping a hole in space, something crazy. So standard speed, Flash's standard speed is faster than light speed. It's faster than light speed at his standard. When he's doing all these fights and stuff, and he's just doing it within this relatively small reference frame, he's actually holding back a lot of the time because he can't go too fast. He has to be able to just do right here. So he can, whenever he wants, just travel light speed, time travel. At his high end speed for some of these feats, it has been described as infinite or immeasurable speed using the Speed Force. The Speed Force does not exist in space-time continuum. The Speed Force speed is infinite. And so going over some feats, he's outran death itself, which is a conceptual thing. So that's when it's talking about it's infinite speed. He's outran a concept. He's outran death. 2, he's created the multiverse and created alternate universes. Flashpoint. Flash goes back, saves his mom, or Flash goes back to save his mom and creates these other timelines. He has created in DC, Flash creates the multiverse. Kind of how Loki creates the multiverse in the movie show form of the MCU. Loki kind of does that. Flash in the comics is the one that creates the multiverse for the DCU. Infinite Mass Punch, of course, we talked about that. He's done that before. Creating the Speed Force. So not only is the Speed Force instant speed, but he ends up creating the Speed Force. It's a causality loop. Basically, the Speed Force creates the Flash. So the Flash can create the Speed Force since the Speed Force lives outside the space-time continuum. As long as the Flash exists and creates it at some point, it will exist at all points in time. It's called the causality loop. It's a lot of mumbo jumbo. Basically, the Flash creates the Speed Force that gives speed to the speed. So that's a crazy feat. We're talking about conceptual level power. And then another cool feat, he evacuates a city of 530,000 people in 0.00001 of a second. So we're talking microseconds. He evacuates a whole city of 530,000 people. And I did the math on that. He's traveling about 13 trillion times faster than the speed of light. So talking about speed of light, crazy fast, fastest thing in like reality. 13 trillion times faster than that. Next, at one point he was protecting a city. He travels so fast, he becomes an omnipresent being of pure energy to protect the city. And you can look these up. You can literally just look these up and you'll see the comic strip where, I forget which comic it's from, but he becomes an omnipresent means he's everywhere. In the city, he's traveling so fast, he's everywhere in the city at the same time. And he's just holding that speed to protect, and he holds it so long, and basically for eternity, he's holding it so long, he just becomes a being of pure energy, and he protects the city. So, tier, Flash is at a 7 to an 8, upper universal or lower multiversal level character, and that's going to do for these two characters. So now let's talk about the matchup. Matchup wise, I think it's pretty clear cut that the Flash is gonna dominate Quicksilver. Quicksilver, again, tier 2, talking upper city level, going against a lower multiversal character. It's just, and then some of Flash's top feats is almost at the tier 9. We're talking almost tier 9. Exists outside of reality. So the definition I have definitions for my tiers. Definition of omniversal, I have exists outside of reality, embody abstract concepts, time, death, eternity. Using the speed force and outrunning death are small hints. Not enough to put them in there, but you could almost put him at upper multiversal, because conceptually, he's shown small hint feats of like semi-conceptual, omniversal feats. And I think at Quicksilver's peak, he's universal. He's not crossing into other dimensions. The most he's doing is time traveling. But even time traveling isn't necessarily universal, because I don't think his time travel can reshape entire universes, because we're talking time travel of a couple hours, not going back millions of years or going forward millions of years, things like that. So I've been sitting and trying to think of a scenario where Quicksilver could beat Flash 1v1 straight up with no external boosts. And I really can't. Like, worst comes to worst, Flash can take Quicksilver's speed using the Speed Force. If, let's say, you have Quicksilver, let's say you put him at his max, and he travels in time, Flash can follow him. He can just follow him. He don't even have to use the Speed Force. He can just follow him raw power. He has entered the 4th dimension. But, again, Flash can follow him. And he's entered the 4th dimension. He hasn't crossed multiple dimensions in one comic. He hasn't just, at free will, just dimension to dimension, timeline. I don't see it a way Quicksilver wins. Out of 10 fights, I think Flash wins 10 out of 10. It's pretty cut, dry, and clear. I've been thinking for days on ways to try to think of, okay, what if Quicksilver, there's like, no, Flash can stop that. Whatever Quicksilver can do, Flash can do. And not only that, but Flash can do things Quicksilver has no chance of stopping. Like, yeah, so I think that's going to do it. The Flash is beating Quicksilver. The Flash is faster, significantly faster. Base level, it's not even close. The only way I could possibly see some type of argument is if you put Quicksilver at his absolute max with all the boosts. We're the one where he goes in the 4th dimension, he outruns a black hole. We're talking light speed feats. If you put him there and keep him there, even though these are rare with external boosts, this wasn't his raw power, and you put Flash at his minimum, Flash's minimum is still faster than light speed. When Quicksilver's best is near light speed, which means it's not quite light speed. It's near. Flash's minimum is still faster than light speed. So even if you do that, the slowest version of Flash and the fastest version of Quicksilver, Flash is still beating them by a letter grade. Or if you do that and you put Quicksilver's like an 8, Flash is still a 9.5. If you get what I'm saying. So yeah, this was pretty cut, dry and clear, or whatever the saying is. I look forward to doing more, especially some that I've been asking my friends for that I think will be really good, really close ones. I want to get some really tough ones. So with that being said, if you've made it this far in the video, first of all, I appreciate it. It's my first one. But I want you to leave a comment. What are some matchups you want to see? Anime, Marvel, DC, you can cross them. Broly versus Hulk, Broly versus Doomsday, Madara Uchiha versus Magneto. What are some matchups you want me to break down? And I'm going to break them down. I'm making a list, and the list is looking pretty nice. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Go ahead and subscribe. Leave that comment, and I'll catch you guys next time.